fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at the PB01 entry body and rider head and armed parts 22 set from the Revolve change figure line for Kamen Rider Geats. So this is our second premium Bandai release for this line, and unfortunately it seems like this line has pretty much completely shifted to premium Bandai. I think we are done with retail releases, unfortunately. But this is a pretty cool set, and I'm actually really excited for it. If we take a look at the top of the box here, it's going to show us everything that's included. So we're getting two more entry body pieces here. Now this one is a full entry body piece. This one is specific to the armed weapons. So you get like a gold set of eyes, and you get this little shoulder pad here. And then you get these 6 different like little vest pieces for the armed weapons, as well as the armed weapons themselves. And then we're getting a lot of helmets for riders that did not get a long time on the show, as well as the cracked version of Buffa's helmet. So very, very cool. I think this is going to be a really fun set. I'm looking forward to it. Not really too much going on the bottom here. And you can just see here on the front we have Geats and Tycoon using boost with, you know, one of the armed pieces here. Now, I don't think you're technically going to be able to do 2 different armed sets, because only this one has the shoulder pad and the eyes. But I guess technically if you're not worried about the shoulder pad, because that becomes like a knee pad when you switch it to the legs, as you can see down here, you could still connect these to various different ones. You just wouldn't have the shoulder pad or the knee pad for full authenticity. But you could technically have a couple different people using these if you don't care about the shoulder pad. Then if we spin around to the back here, we have Buffa and Japan, which I think is pretty cool. We can actually have Japan now since we already have Magnum from that first release. So I think this looks like a lot of fun. I'm going to go ahead and get everything out of the box here, and we're going to take a closer look. So here's everything you get in the box. It is a ton of stuff. We'll start with the individual rider heads, just because they might be my favorite thing. I think they did a really great job with these. Here is Japan. So as you can see, it's done in a clear plastic and then painted white and black. Now, the only thing I will say for these, and I'll just use this as an example, they fit really nicely on the heads, but because they're so big, they don't really fill the full eyes. You can kind of see the clear space around. That's a bit of a bummer. I mean, they look fantastic, just fit on here, and they're not going anywhere. They fit really nice and snug. But the two bears, the eyes from the head underneath just don't really fill the eyes because it's so big and hollow inside. So that is a bit of a bummer, and there's really nothing we can do about that. But they look great on the bodies, and they fit really well. So I do like them a lot. I just wish there was something to do about having the eyes underneath kind of fill that space more, and I really don't know how they would have done it, but that's the one bummer with those. But they do look great. So that's Japan. Here is Shiroe, which you can see is very, very similar. Just a couple of, really it's just the ears not being painted. Otherwise they are exactly the same. Next up we have Ginpen, which I think looks pretty good. And I'll show you at least one of each of these. So he fits on pretty nice, and I think they did a nice job with the eyes filling that area, so that's pretty successful. And that's really nicely painted. And then next up we have Kalo. This one's really nicely detailed and painted as well. Then we have Mary, and Mary pops on here pretty well, and that fills the whole eye, so I think that looks pretty good. And the Mary head is pretty nicely detailed and painted, and it has kind of a fun texture to it. I like that a lot. And then here is Letter, which was in the show for a very short time. But here is her helmet. And then the last one in this set is a cracked Buffa. So you can see that the eye's all cracked and one of his horns has been cut off. So that's a really nice thing to have. I appreciate having that in the set. Now we just need them to make a Jamato buckle half, so we can use that. And then we'll get into the weapons. So we have Shield, which is very nicely painted this dark blue, and you can see it's got this little handhold down here. I feel like that's a little low. I probably would have put it a little higher up, but it's not a big deal. Then we have the armed drill weapon. Looks pretty good. Then we have 2 for claw. And they have that nice fluorescent yellow. But I like that they didn't paint the handholds. I appreciate that, so that way it's not going to wear off over time. I think that was smart. Then we have Arrow. Same thing, didn't paint the handhold down here. I think that came out great. That's a really nice kind of fluorescent green. Then we have Propeller, which really has no paint whatsoever, but I think that makes sense. And this can spin, which is nice. So you can have them flying away. And then last but not least, we have Water, which I think also came out pretty great. They did not paint the handhold down here. So yeah, all the weapons look really, really cool. And then we have the little vest pieces. And they have kind of a little hinge in them. And basically they just use this tab to peg into the chest. And I'll show you that in a moment. But here is Water. Here is Shield. Here is Claw. Here is Arrow. Drill. And Propeller. And I think once again they just didn't paint Propeller, so I guess it pays to be gray. But in any case, I think all this stuff looks really, really cool. As far as the two entry bodies, this is the exact same blank entry body that we've seen before, both with the Boost Striker set and the first Premium Bandai 00 set, where they sold us a set of two of these. This is exactly the same to that. Now, the other one here is meant to be used with these armed weapons. So you have this shoulder piece here that has a hinge, and that just pegs in. There is a little tab right there on the shoulder. It just pegs into that, and then you flip the shoulder down, and then you can see that the eyes are painted gold so that they will feed through the helmet. And then just for an example, we'll take Drill, and you would just take the little tab here and tab that right in on the chest plate, and that will just tab in like so. And then whoever you want to, we'll give it to Letter. I know she didn't use this one, but that's fine. We'll pop that in, and there you go. You'd have Letter using Drill, and then we will bring the Drill accessory in, which you just peg into the fist. And there you go. You are all set. You have armed Drill. Now, if you look at the driver, you can see that it has kind of a generic small thing attached. They obviously couldn't make it look like anyone in particular, but it's kind of just like a general small raised buckle shape that's been attached, and then it's just kind of blank on top. But I think this works. I think this works pretty well. If we take the other blank body here and we transform this into a pair of legs, we will swivel this. This will swivel and fold up the foot there. So again, swivel this to the side, straighten this out, rotate this, and flip up the foot. And then we will attach this and peg that into the back and drop this down like so. And there you go. We have Letter in an entry form with just armed Drill. And I think that's pretty successful. I think that works really well. I like it a lot. Now, if you wanted to put the armed thing on the lower half, now I will say, unfortunately, that the piece of the chest plate is popping off. And this happened with my other entry bodies. They kept popping out of there. I might just glue them in. I'm honestly not sure. I'm getting kind of tired of them popping out all the time. But you would just do the same thing here, where you would attach this. Sorry, I have it the wrong way. This attaches like so, and then this just uses that hinge to kind of come around the leg like that. So you attach it on, bring that around, and then you would take the shoulder pad and unpeg this like so, and then come down here to what was the shoulder pad on the other piece, and then peg this on and bring this up like that. So you have kind of a knee pad there. So I think that's pretty cool. I think it's pretty successful. I think they work. It's a simple gimmick, but I think it's really neat. I think it works well. I like having all of the arms. And if you wanted to do a second one, you certainly could. Let's see, what if I do Arrow up here? Now I won't have the shoulder pad, unfortunately, So I could put this up here, and then you just kind of have to determine where you prefer, because they only give us one of these. It would have been nice if they gave us two, since they're giving, like, honestly, I appreciate the base body down here being blank, but I would have rather had two of this one, because we have other ways to get the blank base bodies. Like, I appreciate its inclusion, but I put this in upside down, I think. Let me pop this out of here. And that is the thing. It's a really nice, firm tab, so this is not going to fall out on you, which is nice. Okay. But it can also be a little difficult. Oh, now that popped out. Okay, that's not great. Hold on one second. So unfortunately, this little piece just popped out, but it's not that big a deal. We just pop it right back in. There we go. I think that's the correct way to do it. And this should peg in like this, and then fold up like that. There we go. There we go. So if you wanted, you know, you could have two, but you just wouldn't have the knee pad for down here. So that's the only difference. And then we could bring arrow in and pop that in over here. So while I do appreciate them giving us two body pieces, I would have preferred two of this one. That way you could at least give two different people, you know, armed weapon tops with the yellow eyes. If you wanted to use it as just one, you could, because the head tucks under here anyway. So I'm not really sure why they didn't give us two of this one instead of one of each. But it's not a huge problem. At least they gave us one. I guess they're probably just trying to get you to buy multiple sets. I think it's probably just a tactic. But it is nice, and I think this works. Now I'm going to move all of these pieces off to the side for a moment so we can check out this thing, which I think is actually cool. This is not shown on the box that this is included. It is technically listed in Japanese. It said effect piece set, and I didn't know what that meant. But basically, what you can do is, this is obviously like the circle that appears when they do the revolve change, when they revolve on. So how this works is you take this piece out, and it's very simple to connect this. It's a couple different pieces. So it's just this piece here. These pieces for the clips will peg into this side of it, and then this pegs in here, and then this pegs in down here, and then this piece is molded in, and this is just like a solid kind of, it's like a clear piece of plastic. It's fairly durable, but it's not like super solid. And then you just slide that in here like so. And then how this works is you're going to take the clip pieces and you're going to peg them into the side pieces here where you would normally peg weapons. And then you're going to do that. And then I'm going to take this piece off. And then this is going to clip onto here once that's pegged in. And then you can peg this on here like this. Alright, I don't know why this isn't orienting properly. I'm probably going to have to turn this. There we go, there we go. Okay, and then you can have them kind of like spread out the legs. And then you can have it like they're in the middle of, you know, revolving around. I think that's really cool. I think it's a simple little effect piece, but this would be great for display. Now, you could obviously do it in different stages. Like, if you wanted to actually have it, like, mid-transformation, you could put it sideways, have the arms, like, in the process of turning into the legs and vice versa. So, however you want to display it. But I think that's a really cool piece. It's simple, but it's effective. I think it looks good. I do think they don't quite fit in there. I wish this was maybe slightly larger, or maybe have, you know, this positioned a little lower. And at first I thought this was going to be adjustable, but it's just two pieces that peg into each other, so it's not adjustable. But it's really neat. I like it a lot, honestly. Like I said, it's a simple thing, but it works for what it is. And I think it would be like a great focal point of a display to have, you know, someone in the middle here, you know, revolve changing around. I just think that's really, really cool. So let me go ahead and take this off. And it's really easy to pop on and off. I mean, honestly, You just have to unclip them from the holes on the side where you would clip in the weapons. So it's very simple, and then you just take this and plug these back into here. And so, yeah. I'm going to kind of make a couple different combinations here so we can do a sum up, but I think this is a really fun set. I really like all these pieces. I love the inclusion of the other rider helmets, and it just gives you a ton of options. So I just have a couple of random combinations here. I gave Arrow to Tycoon since we saw him use that for a chunk of the series. Here is Geats with Water and Boost. Japan with Magnum because we saw him use that while he was around. And then here is Buffa with the cracked version of the helmet. But I think this is a really fun set. It gives you a lot of mix and match combo possibilities, which I think is a lot of fun. I love the inclusion of all the extra rider helmets because now that's giving me more characters for the display. If I track down enough entry form bodies, I can really build a kind of giant display for all these characters, which I think is a lot of fun. I really only have 2 complaints with this set. One of them is that they gave us one completely blank entry form body and then one like armed weapon entry form body. And I wish they would have just given us 2 of the entry form. And all they really would have had to change is just give us 2 of the yellow-eyed head and give us another one of the shoulder pad pieces. That's all we really need, just so that we could have 2 characters. Because as you can see, Geats here doesn't have the shoulder pad or the correct colored eyes. So you can still kind of get it to work, but it's not 100% correct because they just didn't give us enough heads. And so I wish they had just given us 2 of the like entry form armed weapon body piece. I don't really know why they did one of each. We have plenty of other ways to get blank entry form body pieces, so that's a little bit of a weird thing to me. Again, I think it's just them trying to get you to buy multiple sets, honestly, which is a little sneaky, and I don't appreciate that. The other thing is a minor complaint, but I love the 2 bear heads. I think Japan and Shiroe look great. It's just the fact that because they're so hollow inside and because of their shape, because they are a wider head than anybody else, there's empty space in there, and the little head underneath doesn't fill that space. So when you look at the eyes, you don't really see the color that's underneath. You just kind of see the little head inside, which does look a little weird. Again, I don't really know how they would have combat this unless they just kind of painted the eyes a single color, but then that kind of defeats the purpose of how this line works. And the fact that they just do clear eyes so that the head underneath, the eyes are always correct depending on who you have it paired with. So I don't really know how they would fix this, honestly. It just has to do with the shape of the bear heads and the fact that they're much wider than everybody else. But it is a minor complaint. But that's really it. Honestly, I love the inclusion of the effect part piece back here as well. It's simple. You know, it's not overly extravagant, but I think it works for what it needs to do. And I think it's a really neat display piece. And it's something that I'm glad they didn't try to sell on its own. They just kind of put it in with this set where it makes total sense. And I'm happy about that. Honestly, all the accessories I really love. The heads, the weapons, the little vest pieces, I think that all really works. If they wanted to do a set like this for all of the Legend Rider buckles, I would go bananas. I think that would be so much fun. I think that would look amazing. Just give us the little, you know, armor, shoulder pad, and vest pieces for all the different riders. And then we could just, I mean, I'm trying to think, would the eyes be different? The eyes would probably be different colors, so maybe that wouldn't necessarily work. But even if they could just do something like that, maybe give us a torso piece for just the different color eyes that exist, and then give us helmets and vest pieces. Well, I guess the helmets would be the same, right? It would always be Geats' helmet. In any case, do some kind of set for the Legend Rider buckles. I think that would be a ton of fun. Obviously, be Premium Bandai, because that's just the way this line's going now. But I think that could be a lot of fun as well. It's a neat line. Honestly, I'm really kind of bummed that it didn't get to stick around at retail for longer. I feel like they pulled the plug on it a little bit too early. But I think this is a great set. I definitely recommend checking it out. I don't think you really need to. Like, I don't want to give in to them and buy a second one just for the one torso piece, because everything else you really don't need duplicates of. So maybe they'll give us, you know, a way to get another one of those later on or something. I'm not 100% sure, but this is a fun set. I definitely recommend checking it out, especially if you've been a fan of the Revolve change figure line so far. This is a really nice welcome addition. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks so much for watching.